Well, can you? Can you put lipstick on a pig with 8 gigabytes of VRAM with AMD or NVIDIA? Let's find out. What do you think? Oh yeah, well, welcome back, friends, once again. Today, we're going to be going into Radeon RX 7600 XT, 7600, the 4060, the 5060, the 9060 XT, the whole lineup that we can come up with, 8GB VRAM GPUs. The big question that's coming through everybody's mind is 8GB of VRAM still enough, or are we putting lipstick on a pig? The 5060X, well, the RTX 5060 has been catching a lot of heat lately with the reviewers upset about the driver access pre-launch. We know this. But the criticism, is it warranted? Really, is it or not? Or is it just another case of misplaced frustration? Are you frustrated? Leave your comment down below. While everyone is hammering NVIDIA's 128-bit PCIe 5.0 X8 setup, there are plenty of other X8 cards with the same bandwidth. So why is this getting singled out? Why is the 50 series getting singled out? Is it because of the way their marketing is handling it? Who knows? If you feel their marketing is handling things wrong, then let me know in the description below. Well, actually, leave your comment on the video down below. How about that? So we're breaking into it all today, so expect some, how can I say this? We're just going to go to Tech Power Up today, so expect a lot of drama or heat that might come out from this. But if you feel a lot of heat, hit that and smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and don't forget about your notification bell, because we got more videos that are coming on the way, like the PC Masterclass series for the members. Now, if you're still wondering about that, you can get in on the low entry membership level and go from there. So just hit the join button. If you want to become a member monthly, then smash the join button. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the action screen. See what we got rolling. All right, we made it to the action screen. So the 5060s, the GB206, got 3,840 cores, 120 TMUs, got 48 ROPs, got 8 gigabytes of memory size, GDR7, and it's 128-bit bus. Now, going right down to here, the relative performance, it's not in a bad set. It's right, it says it's right below, 2% below the 6700 XT, and the 5060 Ti, it's 2% below that. Now, taking that into consideration, we know to make sure you got your drink and snacks, by the way. We know Tech Power Up has some great info when it comes to everything you need to know about your GPU. So, looking at this, it's got a 128-bit bus. I know everybody's like, you get a 128-bit bus. So what? So does, let me see. Excuse me. So does the 7600 XT with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. If we really want to sit there and talk about the bus width, talk about this right here with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Okay, now we really want to get into it. We can get into it. I'm going to use this card as a token of my appreciation to my members, and they're going to understand why. So back to the 5060. It's got 448 gigabytes of bandwidth. Not bad. And believe it or not, there are some reviews out there with the 5060 that are decent reviews. Okay, 1080p, 1440p is a good thing. It's not a negative at all. So if this is what you're thinking, then you're in the wrong place. Then go watch those other videos that tell you the wrong thing about the 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Go listen to them. They're going to tell you, oh, this is the worst card. And when they're cranked it all up to the max, and they're going to tell you it's the worst card in the world. But what they don't tell you is the good part about the card. That it's affordable, that it gets all the new software of the 50 series. It gets AV1 encoding. It gets many of things, many of the perks that the 50 series gets. I know everybody don't like to talk about the multi-frame generation and all that stuff. Fine. We don't have to talk about that today. We can on another video. When I get my hands on a 50 series card, I'm going through it soup to nuts. On my PC right here, this one right here, the one I use for my content creating and my gaming. Because if this system can hold up to a 40 series, a 4070, it can hold up to a 50 series card. It should be able to, because it's the way I got it set. It should hold all the way up to, let's say, about maybe 5070 Ti, 5080. Platform's got that much horsepower to it. And if I need more, I'll go get me a 5950X, plug it into the socket of this motherboard, and I'll go all the way up to a 5090. It's not what hardware you have, it's how you use it that matters. And if you don't know how to use it, and you claim to everybody, oh, I know how to use it, well then prove it to everybody and stop complaining about black screening. You see me complaining about black screening right now? I haven't. Ever since the new driver came out, 576.52, I haven't complained one bit. I just listen to everybody else complain about it. I wonder why. Maybe because the 576.52 was constructed in the right way, but everybody's running the wrong kind of motherboard for the new GPU. And they've been saying that all along. And I've been saying that ever since the 50 series came out. Watch. Your motherboard's going to need to be PCIe 5.0 x16 compliant. And if your GPU or your CPU is not 5.0 x16 compliant, then you're going to be running into another issue. So, when you guys put it together, you'll figure it out. Mine is 4.0 x16. For me to run 5.0 x16, I know it's a shot in the dark. But if I run 5.0 x8, which is equivalent to PCIe 4.0 x16, 5060 should be able to run in my PC. Just a guess. We'll find out if I get my hands on one. We'll find out if the 5068 gigabytes can run just as good as my 4070. And if it does, and it holds up to the torture I put it through, then I'll tell you this. For 8 gigabytes, it's not a bad card. And like I told you guys before, I don't go any bit over 6 gigabytes of VRAM. Sometimes I might go to 9, but that's how if I set my, GPU display a certain way, it'll go to 9. But if I don't, it'll stay at 6. And if you got an 8 gigabyte card, that's 2 extra gigabytes you don't have to worry about because they're extra little room for a little bit of buffering. So, now let's move on since I made my point to everybody. Now, we looked at the 5060. Now we can look at the 4060. Still, the 5060 had 3,840. The 4060 had 3,072 with 96 TMUs, 48 ROPs, 8 gigabytes of GDR6, and this is GDR7, and it's got more TMUs, same amount of ROPs, same amount of ROPs. It's got bigger TMUs. It's got more cores, not much, but it's got a little more. So, there. I mean, you can't get it any better than that between the 5060 and the 4060. If you want to go, inch for inch between the two cards, The 5060 is going to be better than the 4060. Going for generation to generation, people. Generation to generation. Predecessor, 30 series. Generation, 40 series. Successor, 50 series. So we go over to the 50 series. Predecessor, 40 series. You see where I'm going with this? Then you'll understand how the 50 and the 40 series really works. Because if you look at the 50 series, and the bandwidth that it's got on the 50 series is a lot bigger bandwidth. This has got 448 gigabits per second compared to 272 gigabits per second. So there. That's the 50 series. Now let's go look at the 7600 over here. The one with the 2048 cores, 128 TMU, 64 ROPs, 8 gigabytes, GDR6 at 128 bit. Now, AMD's new generation is GDDR6 compared to NVIDIA's GDDR7. We wonder why. Okay, the IPC, instructions per clock, is higher on NVIDIA cards than AMD. But this is how AMD decided to cheat without telling everybody, without anybody looking. They decided to put more transistors on their GPU dies, so this way they can add a little bit more power to it, so it makes it look like it's running faster, but does nothing with the memory. There's a reason, there's a balance, and if you don't balance it out, that's definitely not going to balance, because you give that card a couple years of torture and everything else everybody's going to put it through, and that silicon's not going to last much. It's not going to last as long as you think. Look what happened with Intel and the 13th and 14th gen. Everybody decided they want to put a little bit of power to it, and guess what? There's some reviewers that the 14th gen CPUs are blowing up. What do you think is going to happen to the GPU that they overstretched? What Intel did, AMD's copying. NVIDIA didn't fall down that rabbit hole because they decided to do a balance between the GPU die and the PCB platform. Yeah, it might catch fire on the 5090 because it's not being regulated carefully. The power consumption is not being regulated carefully on the 5090. We know this. Some of the 5080 overclock versions, it's the same thing. But the ones that are not overclocked, I haven't heard anything on. 5070 Ti, 5070, 5060 Ti, 5060, they don't have that problem. It seems that just two versions out of NVIDIA has that problem. Now, sooner or later, AMD is going to have that problem. For the simple fact, them putting more transistors on top of their GPU die and push more power in there instead of performance, power versus performance, it's going to be ugly. So, you get this 128-bit card. Then we move down the road. The newest, and I'm going to say the newest, February release date 2025, active, bus interface PCIe 4.0 X8. This has 13,300 million transistors. It's 6 nanometers. Okay, right here, $280 for this card. Is it worth it? It sits between a 6650 XT that's 1% faster and a 7600 that's 1% slower. Right down the middle. Unbelievable. So, you don't hear anybody talking about this card here now, do you? I don't hear anybody talking about this card here. Not one bit. And it's got 288 gigabits per second on the bandwidth, 128-bit bus, and it's got 8 gigabytes of VRAM. I don't hear anybody talking about this card. And it was launched February 2025. I don't hear anybody busting on this card whatsoever. And this card costs more than $280 at launch price. So, keep that in mind. Moving on down the road. Let's talk about the 7600 XT. Oh, let's see, it's got 2048 cores compared to the 7650 XT or the 7650 GRE. It's got 2048 cores. This has got 2048 cores. Do you see what I'm saying? Let me go back. This is 2048 cores to 2048 cores. Now, if we go back and look at this, then we look at 13,300 million transistors. Then coming over here, then we got 13,300 million transistors. Do you guys see the point to this? This is a 16 gigabyte card right here, and this is an 8 gigabyte card. They're similar to each other a little bit. So if we're looking at the 16 gigabyte card, I mean, you got 2048 shaders, 128 TMUs, and 64 ROPs. Then we come over here and we got 2048 shading units, got 128 TMUs, 64 ROPs, 32 compute units, fully frickin' matched. Let's look at the theoretical performance between this. We got pixel rate at 176.3. We got a pixel rate at 172.5. 0.3, 0.5, 76.3. Not much difference. Texture rate is 345 gigatexels, 352 gigatexels. FP16, 45.14. T-flops, 2:1. 44.15, 2:1. 32 floater, FP32, 22.8. T-flops, 22.57 T-flops. You're starting to see the pattern here of how close a 16 gigabyte card to an 8 gigabyte card is. Because if you're looking, this is only 705 G-flops, and this is 689. That's still close enough to be in almost the same identical card. Almost the same identical card. So this is 190 watts. This is where the power comes in. Now you're going to see where the power comes in and it starts offsetting some of these numbers. So we got 190 watt total board power, and you got 165 total board power. Now if you were to push that up to 190, it'll start to look like this one right here, right here. So I hope that's a learning lesson to this. Okay, now 9060 XT. Look at it again. 98 gigabyte, 2048 cores. Going back to the 6750 GRE, 2048 cores. Going back to the 7600, 2048 cores. Going back to the 7600 XT, 2048 cores. Do you see the pattern even with the 8 or the 16 gigabytes? I mean, look right here. 128 TMU, 64 ROPs, 8 gigabytes of memory, 128-bit. Look at this. Going to the 7600 XT, same thing across the board. Now, do you guys really see the point? Now let's go back to the main screen and let's have a final powwow about this. Okay, now for everybody that's going to bash NVIDIA about the fact of their graphics card being 8 gigabytes of VRAM, you better go look over at AMD and their specifications before you just make that determination of which company is doing bad on these 8 gigabyte of VRAM graphics cards. I know y'all are going to say, well, 8 gigabytes is just not enough for me. Okay, well, it might not be enough for you, but it's enough for somebody else that can't afford it, that wants to get gaming graphics. It will work for them. It's only $320. It's cheaper for them to get that and to have some hope than to have somebody out there rip that away from them. Okay, I got plenty of graphics cards here that are 4 gigabyte. I use those as a backup all the time. I run 1080p. It does not matter to me. I still get great gameplay. I still get great textures. Just because everybody's eyeball sees a little bit different than mine. I'm wearing glasses, by the way, and mine's bifocal, and mine, guess what? Mine is magnified. So I see everything going on the screen. I can't miss a damn thing on that screen, trust me. But the way I do it, it just looks so good that I'm satisfied with 1080p. That I'm satisfied with dynamic screen resolution. You might not be, because the way you feel it looks and the way it feels to you, you know, you don't live in the game. You play the game, but you don't live the game. If you live the game, then, you know, that's kind of a personal problem for you. But me, I don't live the game. I play the game. I enjoy the game. And that's what most 64% people in the world do. All they want to do is enjoy the game. And is it faster than a PlayStation 5 for a 5060? Yeah, it is. See, the thing is this, since the 5060's got the same characteristics as the 4070, which everybody missed, and the thing is this, it can do the same thing when it comes to 1440p and 4K if you're running a 1080p monitor. And it can lower latency, it can lower CPU usage as you go up the ladder. See, that's what I figured out. I figured out how to take 6 gigabytes of VRAM and use it to my advantage, even on my 4070, which has got 12 gigabytes of VRAM. I learned how to utilize 6 gigabytes of VRAM for every game I play. And it's not hard. When everybody's still trying to figure out how I'm doing that, then you guys can figure out the PC Masterclass as I build it slowly but surely. I'm building the whole editions to it. I'm building the basic beginner edition, I'm building the intermediate edition, and I'm building the advanced class edition. That's how much experience I have with building PCs and using software and knowing how it all works. And that's the knowledge that I put out on the PC Masterclass. So you want to be a part of that, you know where to go. Hit the join button and you'll be there. I just now launched the introduction, and today I'm getting ready to launch the first piece to the puzzle. There's going to be a lot of pieces to this puzzle on the PC Masterclass, so make sure you guys are there. But I really want you to subscribe to the channel so you can learn more, so you can go on the adventure with me and enjoy the journey. And plus, we have a public Discord. You can get in there with that. And we have a fun time there as well with the Discord channel. So if you want to be a part of that action, all you got to do is let me know in a comment on the video, or stick around till the Saturday live stream at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we can send you a link there as well. So either way you look at it, you can get a hold of us through the video or the, the live stream, so you can get a hold of us there. So, but anyway, guys, I'm not going to bore you with the rest of this, and we're going to get out of here. But if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Don't forget about the notification bell so you know when I post the next video. Until the next time, in the next video, you know what it is, and we'll see you on the next one.